Hello, and welcome to my tutorial on how to show a web view on top of your Android Unity app, while still allowing the user to interact with your Unity UI. As before, this tutorial assumes a reasonable knowledge of Unity, C#, Android Studio, and Java. The source code for this tutorial can be found at github.com/cwgtech Android WebView. The plan is to extend the plugin created in my other tutorials by adding a method that will create an Android layout containing an Android WebView object and a blank text view. We'll adjust the height of the text view to allow for space at the top of the layout that will allow the user to still see and interact with a portion of the Unity view space. We'll add this layout to our app's content view, which will place it on top of the Unity view. We'll also add a method to remove this layout from the content view, returning the full screen to Unity. Let's get started by loading up the previous versions of this project in Unity and the My Plugin project in Android Studio. If you don't have it, you can download it from github.com/cwgtech Android activity result. Using Android Studio, open the My Plugin Java source and add the following variable declarations above the first method definition. Private linear layout, web layout. Private text view, web text view. Private WebView, WebView. We're going to use these vars to store references to the objects we create when the WebView is displayed. This will allow the plugin to close and deallocate those objects when the WebView is closed. Add the following method to the body of the plugin. Public void, show WebView, final string web URL, final int pixel space. Main activity dot run on UI thread, new runnable, at override. Public void run, log.i, log tag, want to open WebView 4 plus web URL. If web text view equals null, web text view equals new text view main activity. Web text view dot set text empty string. If web layout equals null, web layout equals new linear layout main activity. Web layout dot set orientation linear layout dot vertical. Linear layout dot layout params equals new linear layout dot layout params. Linear layout dot layout params dot match parent, comma linear layout params dot match parent. Main activity add content view web layout, comma layout params. If WebView equals null, WebView equals new WebView main activity. WebView.set WebViewClient new WebViewClient. Layout params.weight equals 1.0f. WebView.set layout params layout params. WebView.load URL web URL. WebLayout.addView web text view. WebLayout.addView web view. If pixel space greater than 0, WebTextView.setHeight pixel space. The method takes two parameters, the URL of the web page you want to display, and the number of screen pixels the layout needs to reserve for the Unity UI. This version assumes that the Unity UI is at the top of the screen and pushes the web view down. You'll need to modify the order the views are added to the layout if this is not what you want. First, we create the text view and set its contents to an empty string. Next, we create the linear layout and set its orientation to vertical and its layout so that it will fill its parent object, and then add it to the content view for our activity. Lastly, we create the actual web view and we assign the WebViewClient to be a default WebView client. This tells our WebView how to handle links, and with the default client, the links will be opened in our WebView. Without this, when the user clicks on a link, Android will pop up a chooser asking the user what app they want to send the link to. We also set the weight of the WebView to 1, which means the layout system will give our WebView as much space as it can. Finally, we tell the WebView to load the URL passed to this method. The text view and WebView are added to the linear layout object, with the order they are added determining the order they will appear on screen, and the height of the text view is set to the number of screen pixels we want to push the WebView down by. We need to add one more method that will allow our Unity app to remove the layout when it is no longer needed. Add the following code. Public void close WebView final share image callback. Main activity dot run on UI thread new runnable at override. Public void run. If web layout not equals null, web layout dot remove all views, web layout dot set visibility view dot gone. Web layout equals null. Web view equals null. Web text view equals null. Callback.onShareComplete 1. Else callback.onShareComplete 0. This method is going to reuse the share image callback interface. We could create a new interface just for this method, but there is no harm in using an existing interface that can do the same job, which is to let Unity know when we have closed the layout. To remove the layout, first remove all its child views, then set its visibility state to gone. This will cause it to remove itself from its parent and mark it for garbage collection. Setting the vars that hold the references to our views to null will also allow the garbage collection system to free the memory used by them. Lastly, trigger the supply callback, passing a 1 if the close happened as expected, or a 0 if the linear layout had already been closed. That completes the modifications to the plugin, so you can go ahead and let Gradle build it and copy the updated AAR to the plugin folder in the Unity project. Switch back to Unity, where we'll modify the canvas object in the hierarchy view to include a new layer for our web view, but first, double-click the script plugin test to open it in Visual Studio. Add the following 2 lines to the C# code after the other public UI vars. Public rect transform web panel. Public rect transform button strip. These will hold references to the UI objects we'll create later. The web panel is the root UI object that will contain all the objects that will be displayed when the web view is on screen, and button strip holds the title text and the close button. Now add the following methods that will call our Java methods, but only if we're on an Android platform. Public void OpenWebView string URL int pixel shift. If application.platform equals runtime platform.android, plugin instance.call show WebView new object array URL pixel shift. Public void close WebView system.action int close complete. If application.platform equals runtime platform.android, plugin instance.call close WebView new object array new share image callback close complete. Else close complete 0. These methods are just wrappers for the Java code and pass the parameters directly to the plugin. Next, add the method we'll connect to a UI button that will figure out how much space to reserve at the top of the display, and then pass that with the URL to our Java wrapper. Public void OpenWebView tapped. Canvas parent canvas equals buttonstrip.getComponent in parent canvas. Int strip height equals int buttonstrip.rect.height times parent canvas.scalefactor plus 0.5f. Webpanel.gameObject.setActive true. OpenWebView www.cwgtech.com strip height. We get a reference to the canvas object that our button strip belongs to, and then use its scaling factor along with the height of our button strip to calculate how many screen pixels we need to push the web view down by. Enable the web panel and pass the URL and height to our Java wrapper. Add the following method. Public void close web view tapped. Close web view int result equals greater than webpanel.gameObject.setActive false. This method will be connected to the close button child of the button strip. It simply calls our Java wrapper using the inline function to hide the web panel object once the Android views have been cleaned up and removed. Save the file and return to Unity. Wait a few seconds to let Unity recompile the C# code and then expand the canvas object. Right-click on the canvas object and select UI, then button and left-click. This will create a button in the middle of the screen called Button 1. Rename it to Browse Button and expand it. Change the default text on the child text object to Browse. Highlight the Browse button again, click the plus button on the on-click list of the button script. Now drag the main camera object into the reference holder. Click the function selector, click Plugin Test, and then OpenWebView tapped. Right-click on the canvas object, then click UI, then Panel. Rename the panel created to Web Panel. Click on the color gizmo and set the color to pink, FFD4F7, and the alpha to 255. Right-click on Web Panel and then click UI, Image. Click on the Rect Transform gizmo and select Top Center, Horizontal Stretch, while holding Shift and Alt, option on the Mac. This will move the image to the top of the screen and make it fill the view horizontally. Set the height to 50 and the color to black. Rename the image to Button Strip. Right-click on Button Strip and then UI Text. Click the Rect Transform gizmo and set Stretch for vertical and horizontal while holding Shift and Alt, option on Mac. This will cause the text object to fill the image area. Set the font size to 28, the color to white, and the text to Web Page View. Click the checkboxes to center the text both horizontally and vertically. Right-click on the button strip again and click UI Button. Click the Rect Transform gizmo and then top right anchor with Shift and Alt held, option again on Mac. Set the width and height of the button to 24. Expand the button object and set the default text of the text child to X. Rename the button to Close Button. Just like we did for the Browse button, connect the onClick event for the Close button to the Close WebView Tapped method of plugin test. Highlight the main camera and in the plugin test script object, drag the web panel object to the web panel holder and the button strip object to the button strip holder. Highlight the web panel object in the hierarchy and disable it. Save and run the scene. If you click the Browse button, you'll see the web panel appear and the Close button will hide it. There will be no actual web view as we're not yet running on an Android platform. Stop execution of the player. Click File and then Build Settings. Click on Player Settings and then Other Settings. Scroll down to the configuration area and change Internet Access from Auto to Require. Now click Build and Run to build the Android version and run it on your connected device. In my case, I'm running it on an emulator I started earlier. We need to tell Unity to include the internet permission as Unity is unaware that our plugin is making calls to fetch content from the web and won't add it by itself. With the app running, tapping on the Browse button will make the web panel appear, which is why we made it pink so it's obvious. And if you tap a link in the web content, you'll see the web view follow the link. Tapping the Close button will close the Android WebView and also disable the web panel, allowing our app to behave as before. I hope you find this tutorial useful. You can use this to show a help page or information page directly in your Unity app that is either stored as an HTML file or is downloaded from a website. You can add more controls to the Unity canvas to allow you to navigate forwards and backwards and maybe jump to a specific URL. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at CWGTech or check out my blog at www.cwgtech.com. Please feel free to leave any comments or suggestions below, or let me know how you customize this technique for your own purposes. Subscribe to get notified when I post a new tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.